starts another season as well. And as we welcome in Jerry Remy, Jerry, certainly sad to see Nomar go, but the Red Sox making some defensive changes.
Well, this, Don, has certainly been a strange day in Red Sox history. Of course, anytime you have a franchise player, and that's what Nomar has been since the first day he joined Boston, drafted by the Red Sox up through the minor leagues, an all-star player, a tremendous player in Red Sox uniform. It's always very strange when that player leaves the club. We all knew this time was coming. I mean, it was either going to be during the season or probably in the offseason. And what the Red Sox have tried to do by dealing one of their prize chips is improve their defense, which has been terrible through the first part of this season. If the Red Sox end up in postseason play with that defense that they had, they were not probably going to go very far, you know, because pitching needs somebody to catch the ball for them. They've added people that'll catch it for them. We'll talk more, obviously, about this during the game. We don't have the time right now. We got plenty to say. We'll say it during the game.
We got a whole game to talk about it. We'll be back with the first pitch. Nomar Garciaparra was asked many things in the press conference before the game, but certainly wanted to be asked about how he'll be remembered.
I don't know how they remember me. Like I said, I'm just one guy came out here, and I think they know every day I give it my all. I was proud of what I did every day. And, you know, like I said, for me, I'm so proud of not just what I've been able to do on the field, you know, in a Red Sox uniform, but it's a bigger thrill what I've been capable of doing off the field. And there's been a lot of people in that city that have helped me do that. And, you know, bringing a lot of smile to kids' faces. I think we brought a lot of them, you know, when we were playing the game. And I think we brought a lot of them away from the game. And for me, that's stuff I'm going to remember. And that'll always stay with me as well. Hopefully it stays with them.
Welcome back to the Metrodome, everybody, as we get ready for Game 2 of this three-game series between the Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins. And, of course, the move today, Nomar Garciaparra going to the Chicago Cubs, and the trade deadline has passed, and the Red Sox have made a very big move. We are joined back in Boston at the Nesson Studios by Theo Epstein. And, Theo, today had to be kind of a bittersweet day with Nomar Garciaparra going away and you kind of pulling the trigger on this deal.
Yeah, it was a very difficult day for all of us associated with the Red Sox, and personally, just having grown up in Boston, you know, knowing everything Nomar's meant to the city and to the franchise, it's very, very difficult to see him go. But in the end, you know, we made an assessment of what it's going to take to try to win a World Series. And analyzing this club over the last 3 months, playing 500 ball, we needed to change things and address our biggest flaw, which was our defense. And I hope we've done that here today and put us in a position to, if we go out and play well, have a chance to win the World Series.
Theo, it always seemed like a marriage that was going to end one way or the other, whether it be during the season or maybe in the off-season with Nomar. And, of course, I agree that it's always difficult to see one of the great players in Red Sox history go. But when making the move for Garciaparra, you know, a lot of people speculated, well, it'd be for a pitcher. But I couldn't agree more. The defense on this team has been terrible. And talking to some of the people who know the players that you picked up in Brian Roberts, of course, Mientkiewicz, we know very well from the American League, and Cabrera. I was talking to Schilling about Cabrera, and he was really, really excited to have this guy. He said he's a great shortstop. He has potential to hit 20 home runs in Fenway Park and also hit about 40 doubles. So he sounds like quite a pickup.
Yeah, I don't want to paint these guys as purely defensive players, because Cabrera is a pretty dynamic offensive player, and Mientkiewicz has tremendous on-base skills, and Roberts has on-base skills as well against right-handed pitching. So I think these guys are just good ball players. Now we have 3 of them. We've improved the position player depth on the club. But you're right, Jerry, the primary focus was the defense, and I'll take responsibility. I think we built a club that looked great on paper. In reality, over the last 3 months, some things happened we didn't expect to happen, some injuries. Over the last 3 months, you know, we've led the major leagues in runs scored as of a couple days ago. We were leading the league in ERA, and yet we'd been playing 500 ball for 3 months, and it didn't add up. And I think the reality of the situation was we were a really bad defensive club, and that's my fault. But instead of moping about it, I think we tried to fix it without sacrificing that much on the rest of the club. I think we made our pitching staff better today with some of these moves, and I think these guys can swing the bat a little bit as well.
Theo, we've been taking a look at some of the numbers here, kind of crunching numbers over the last, half hour that we've been up here in the booth. One of the things that becomes increasingly clear about Roberts and Cabrera both is they've got a little speed in their game as well. A lot of stolen bases between the two. Yeah, you know, that's another dimension of the club in addition to defense that we were missing was speed. And sometimes the two go hand in hand. But Dave Roberts has stolen 33 bases this year, only been caught once, and 40-plus each of the last 2 years. And he gives Tito that added element of speed for pinch running late in the game or covering a lot of ground at all 3 of the outfield positions.
Theo, when you look at what other teams have done, and we heard the report that Loiser has ended up with New York. I don't even know if that's true, Don, for Contreras, but we've been hearing stories all day long. In comparison to what other teams in baseball have done, in particular people that we're going to have to deal with throughout the season, have you heard any of the other moves that some of the contenders have made?
Yeah, well, there was a big trade involving the Dodgers and the Marlins, where the Dodgers ended up with Brad Penny, and they also ended up with Steve Finley from the Diamondbacks, and they gave up their catcher, Paul LaDuca, Juan Encarnacion, and their setup guy, Guillermo Mota, went to the Marlins. But the fact of the matter is the clubs that were competing most directly against hadn't made a lot of moves and improved themselves, which was fortunate that we had no control over that. But the bottom line is the clubs that were going up against the Yankees for the division and the other clubs, for the American League pennant, didn't improve themselves that much. And we hope we did improve ourselves here today. We certainly changed the nature of our club, and one that we think will lead to success down the stretch and more importantly in postseason.
Theo, congratulations and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Scott. I do want to add, that Nomar meant so much to this organization that we owe a huge debt of gratitude to him. We have the utmost respect for him, and that we wish him and his family all the success in the world going forward, good health and good fortune.
Thank you very much, Theo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Twins are on the field. Let's take a look at the Red Sox starting lineup, brought to you by Dodge. Johnny Damon leads it off in center field. Mark Bellhorn at second base. David Ortiz, the DH. Manny Ramirez in left field. Jason Varitek doing the catching. Doug Mientkiewicz at first base for the Red Sox. Devin Millar in right. Bill Miller at third base. And Ricky Gutierrez gets the start at short as the Red Sox go up against Brad Radke.
Well, Brad Radke, certainly one of the top pitchers in the American League. 7-6 this season, but a very impressive 3.69 ERA. Radke has great control. 11 walks in 141 in the third innings. He struck out 94 opponents, hitting 275. And in his career against Boston, 8-6, but with a 5.13 ERA.
So Radke ready to go as Johnny Damon steps in on the left side. And we are finally ready for baseball here tonight. Game 2 of the 3-game series. And the first pitch of this one misses away to Johnny Damon.
I'm glad the game's starting down. We can take a deep breath.
I'm with you. 308, 13 homers and 54 runs batted in for Johnny Damon. The Red Sox are able to get Doug Mientkiewicz a uniform, walking down the hall today after the trade was made and inserted into the lineup tonight. Mientkiewicz batting 6th in the Red Sox order, and he'll play first base. And it seems so strange that here last night with the Minnesota Twins, he collected 3 hits against the Red Sox, and now here he is 24 hours later in a Red Sox uniform.
Yeah, can you imagine walking from the Minnesota clubhouse to the Red Sox clubhouse, playing the same day against your former team? And he received the loudest ovation when he was introduced from these Minnesota fans.
And the first game that you play with your new team is the ballpark you're most familiar with, in front of your own fans. 2-2. Damon hits it on the ground to Rivas on the first for the first out of the inning.
Twins defense is brought to you by New England Toyota dealers. It'll be Corey Koski at third base tonight. Christian Guzman, the shortstop. Louis Rivas at second, and Justin Morneau over at first base. Left to right, Shannon Stewart, Lou Ford in center, and Jacque Jones in right. Henry Blanco once again behind the plate for Brad Radke.
Joe West has the plate. Paul Emmel at first base. Lance Barksdale at second, and Mike DeMuro is the umpire at third. Mark Bellhorn checking in at 257 with 12 home runs and 55 runs batted in. Bellhorn hitting at 280 over the last 56 games since May the 21st. And the strike over the outside corner makes it 2-1 now to Bellhorn. Brad Radke in his 23rd start of the season. Radke now in third place on the Twins all-time strikeout list with 1,218 career strikeouts. He's behind only Bert Blyleven and Jim Cott. Bellhorn hits hits one high and deep to center field. Lou Ford headed back at the wall. It is gone. A solo home run for Mark Bellhorn, his 13th of the season, as the Red Sox on top 1-0.
Now, one thing when you're facing a guy like Brad Radke, who is around the plate, who throws a lot of strikes, he does give up his share of home runs. This is 18 allowed on the season. That ties him with Carlos Sola for the team high on the Twins. And for Bellhorn, number 13. Straightaway center field, up over the head of Lou Ford and up over the fence.
Radke has now given up 12 home runs in his last 6+ starts, as they have been coming in bunches against the Twins right-hander. David Ortiz stands in. The former Minnesota Twin takes ball 1. Ortiz at .312, 27 homers and 93 runs batted in.
Well, today, one of the strangest days, Don, that we have had. You know, obviously all the media before the game waiting for the deadline to come and expecting the Red Sox to do something. Terry Francona actually posting a lineup today that had Nomar Garciaparra hitting in his normal spot. And Francona was putting off interviews between, you know, Jerry Trupiano, who does them on EEI, and of course our interview with him, and also with the regular media. And so you had a feeling something was up. You didn't know the magnitude of it at the time.
I think why it took so long, the trade deadline came and went, and Nomar was still kind of sitting in his stall, was that the Cubs game was not over. And that was something that was continuing to go on. All the players in the clubhouse were watching the Cubs game. When it ended, some 10 minutes later, we were asked, as all the media was asked, to then leave the clubhouse. And they effectively told Nomar Garciaparra and the rest of the Red Sox team of the changes. Ortiz softly lining out to Rivas at second base, and there's 2 down.
Yeah, and it was the kind of look on the face of the coaches and the manager that this was not just a minor move that was made. When they asked the media to leave the clubhouse, you could tell it was a significant move because they all looked very anxious. And, you know, they had to eventually go and give the news to Nomar. Now, I was watching Nomar all afternoon, and his demeanor was as if nothing was going on. I'm sure that he must have knew something was going on because, you know, you're always in contact with your representative, your agent, which I'm sure he was all day. And very, very strange. And, you know, we also noticed that Derek Lowe was not in the clubhouse. No. He came in very late. So everybody's wondering, well, is it Lowe that got traded? Because those are the 2 guys I think that everybody was kind of figuring, you know, had a chance to go. Lowe blew in about, what, 4 o'clock.
And that's very unusual for him. He's usually a very early arriver, even on the days that he pitches. And he was late, so everybody at that point was assuming that it was he that was part of the deal or going somewhere else. It did not work out that way. There's Doug Mientkiewicz. Nomar, like us, checking the lineup for a long time there this afternoon, and then as it turned out, he was in the original starting lineup that Terry Francona had posted here at the Metrodome. The 1-1 to Manny Ramirez. Sliced foul off the right side, backing out of play. Well, I guess you can never really prepare yourself totally for a trade situation. He knew at some point that perhaps he was definitely going to be traded. Over the last couple days of read, as everybody else had, that it was a possibility. But even when it happens, he still appeared to be very shaken today in dealing with us and with the media.
Yeah, I think so. You know, trying to say the right things. And, you know, we all thought that this was a marriage that was going to end. We just didn't know when it was going to end.
To third, a tough bounce. Koski throws across, so the Red Sox are gone on top 1-0. Back at the Metrodome, the Minnesota Twins coming up. Let's take a look at the Twins starting lineup. Shannon Stewart leading it off in left field. Christian Guzman, the shortstop. Lou Ford in center. Justin Morneau, the first baseman. Torrey Hunter, the DH. Jacque Jones in right. Corey Koski at third base with Henry Blanco doing the catching. And Louis Rivas at second base bats ninth for the Twins. They go up against Derek Lowe.
Now, Well, Derek Lowe coming off back-to-back wins against Seattle, and of course last time out against the Yankees to run his record to 9-9. This has not been a fun place for him to pitch. 0-1 with a 7.23 ERA here at the Metrodome.
How about that? The first ground ball finds its way to the newest member of the Red Sox, Doug Mientkiewicz.
Now you see that? The defense has already improved.
Let's take a look at that defense, Jerry.
Yeah, the Red Sox defense is brought to you by Lexus. It's Bill Miller at third base, Ricky Gutierrez the shortstop, Mark Bellhorn at second, and Doug Mientkiewicz at first. Left to right, Manny Ramirez, Johnny Damon, and Kevin Millar. Jason Varitek behind the plate.
So one away, and here's Christian Guzman, the shortstop for the Twins. He'll take strike one. Well, it has to be quite a day here today for Derek Lowe. You kind of wonder where his mind is at this point. As we mentioned earlier, beginning the day, probably thought that he may be dealt away. Has felt that really over the last couple of weeks, and at times been a little bit on the snippy side with some of the Red Sox beat writers in regards to where he might be going and reading about all the possibilities. Well, he is still here.
It's a very difficult thing to go through, and you could tell that, especially over the last 3 or 4 days, it's really had an effect on Derek Lowe, and his teammates have done a lot of kidding with him. You know, what do you got a blue hat on today? I mean, you know, all kind of different scenarios. And I think what they've tried to do is make him as relaxed as possible about it. But, you know, when you're in that situation like Lowe has been in, it's not easy.
Available, this telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your television remote. Enjoy the game.
Buenas noches, amigos.
One and two to Christian Guzman. With Lou Ford waiting on deck as Guzman stays alive. Guzman with 5 homers, 30 runs batted in, and a .288 batting average. And it evens up at 2-2 to Guzman.
Well, it's very strange to see really a guy, Nomar Garciaparra, who was drafted by the organization, came up to the organization, has been a all-star caliber player with the Red Sox, batting champion, you know, just has been a great player throughout his career. And as I started to mention, Don, before the break, I mean, this relationship was going to end. We didn't know when, if it was going to be during the year, after the year, but it had the end written all over it. And the question is, was it going to happen during the season? If it did, what was going to come in return for him? And when you look at today's deal,
up the middle, Gutierrez on the run, and just in time. Wow. Didn't look by the first look at that he did get him, but the first base umpire, Emmel, saying Guzman retired for out number 2.
Yeah, not an argument at all by Jerry White, the first base coach. A question for the umpire, Emmel, but not an argument. Gutierrez coming across the middle, and Mientkiewicz, pretty good stretch at first base to get a very speedy Christian Guzman. Close play, bang, bang. Guzman wanted the safe call, didn't get it.
So 2 down here is Lou Ford.
Every time I start talking about Nomar, we go to a break, so I don't know what to do now.
You want to wait till next inning, or you want to?
Maybe we better, in case something else happens.
Over the swing and a miss. I think you're right, though. I don't think there was any way that Garciaparra was going to be coming back next year. So now you try to figure out at the end of the year, do you let him walk or do you do something now? And they chose the latter.
And I think what they did, Don, and let me say that I have the utmost respect for Garciaparra for one reason. Every time he put on a Red Sox uniform, you knew if you paid money to go to that ball game, you were going to get the best effort you could possibly get out of him. It may not always please you.
Swing and a miss, and the Twins are gone in order in the first. Red Sox on top, 1-0. Back at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Jason Varitek leading off in the top half of the second inning. Red Sox on top, 1-0. A solo home run by Mark Bellhorn in the first inning. And the count evens at 1-1 to Jason Varitek. right field and struck well. Jacque Jones headed back, leaping to make the catch. Bangs against the wall pretty hard, but he's able to hold on. A screaming line drive reeled in at the last second by Jacque Jones in right.
Oh, what a great play by Jacque Jones. Usually when a ball is hit that hard on a line, the outfield doesn't have a chance to get back. Jacque Jones makes the catch, crashes into the wall. And now we hear the reception for Doug Mientkiewicz. And Brad Radke, the class guy he is giving him a chance to receive that ovation.
A member of the Twins since 1998. Now a member of the Red Sox. And his first at bat as a member of the Red Sox, taking strike one. It has been a down year for Mientkiewicz in terms of the batting average of .246, 5 homers, and 25 runs batted in. There is some here that would suggest, because of the situation here, largely the problem for the numbers. And knowing that he was headed somewhere else, and that the Twins, Justin Morneau, here and has arrived in Minneapolis, been playing first base in the first 2 games of this series, and is tonight.
Mientkiewicz last night was 3 for 3 against the Red Sox in that game.
Look at the career numbers for Mientkiewicz. Career .275 hitter, certainly known most for his glove. Gold Glove Award winner. Most home runs he has hit in a season is 15, done here with the Twins. 2001. Originally a 5th-round pick by the Minnesota Twins in 1995. He stands at 6'2", 206 pounds. Born in Toledo, Ohio, resides in Estero, Florida. To first base, Morneau, to the pitcher Radke for the second out. Mientkiewicz spoke before the game about what today was like for him.
Anytime you get to run into David Ortiz, it's a good feeling. And you know, the other guys over there, it was weird. You know, walking in and seeing Nomar changing his clothes. You know, I'm hoping my reception in Boston is not. I hope I'm not the guy blamed for Nomar leaving, but you know, I'm looking forward to playing there. You know, my best friend's college apartment was his window. You saw the Sitco sign. So this is pretty neat. And you know, I'm looking. Like I said, I love playing in Fenway, and I'm looking forward to playing there with the white uniform on.
So Doug Mientkiewicz joining the Red Sox here tonight, and has grounded out in his first Red Sox at bat. 2 down in the inning. Kevin Millar, the hitter, he's got that batting average up to .298 right now as he bats with 2 outs in the inning. Home runs 11, RBIs 38.
When talking about the trade from Garcia-Parra, you know, there'll be those who say, well, they didn't get enough, and you know, only time will tell as far as that goes. Certainly they've given up some offense. We'll start to give you some of the numbers of Cabrera as we go along, certainly Dave Roberts as we go along, and you've already seen Mientkiewicz.
I think if you look at it initially, the first thing you realize is this was a defensive move, because clearly if you take a look at the numbers from an offensive standpoint, anytime you have a situation where the Red Sox had 3 in a row of an Ortiz, Ramirez, and Garcia-Parra, you can match those up against just about anybody. So offensively, I think it's clear you have lost some here. Now, defensively, there's no question this team is much, much better.
No, you've gained a lot defensively. You've gained a Gold Glove caliber shortstop.
The second base, Rivas on the backhand, deep second, but the throw in time. The Red Sox down in order on top, 1-0. For you. Last half of the second inning back in Minnesota, Justin Morneau, Torrey Hunter, and Jacque Jones to face Derek Lowe. The Red Sox on top, 1-0.
On getting back now again to the Nomar deal, and you know, I think people say, well, you needed a starting pitcher, or you needed a pitcher for him. But when you look around, my opinion, the best guy that got traded was Moulton from from the Dodgers. I
Yeah.
think he was the top pitcher that got moved in any of these deals that had gone on. Matter of fact, I can't believe that trade by the Dodgers, to be honest with you.
He's the guy that gets you to Eric Gagne, and he's no longer there.
So where do you go from there? Okay, you don't really need to improve your offense.
Able to reach a Bellhorn and into center field, the first hit of the night for the Twins.
So the most glaring weakness on this team has been the defense. It's been poor to terrible, basically all season long. The amount of unearned runs has been horrible. And everybody that they picked up today, very good defensive players. Dave Roberts, Orlando Cabrera, and of course Mientkiewicz. Now Cabrera, we talk about his defense, but last year had 17 home runs and 80 RBIs. That's pretty darn good. He's does not have those kind of numbers this year, and they're hoping that maybe, you know, he can jumpstart his offense coming to Boston. I had a chance to talk to Schilling because Schilling knows he knows everybody, but he certainly knows National League players.
Right field off the bat of Torrey Hunter in front of Millard. It's back-to-back base hits for the Twins.
And Schilling did not have enough good things to say, had plenty of good things to say about Cabrera, about the way he plays defense. He thinks that he's capable of hitting 20 home runs in a Red Sox uniform. He was very excited about getting him. Roberts has 33 steals on the season. He's been caught one time. Now there's a guy you may see in a platoon out there in right field. Cabrera also runs well. Cabrera has 12 steals this year, 25, 24 the last couple of seasons. So you've added defense and speed. So you also have an offense now that maybe has more options, you know, on things that they can do.
Right back to Lowe, trying to start the double play to second for one on to first. He turns it to help himself out. Jacque Jones grounding back to Lowe, and there's quickly two down as Morneau goes over to third base. Red Sox baseball in Nesson is brought to you by Chevrolet, by LoJack, by Acura, by Dunkin' Donuts, by New England Toyota dealers, and by Southwest Airlines. So two down. Justin Morneau is at third base, and here's Corey Koski. I think one of the things that Theo mentioned in the press conference today, which I think was very true, this team may have very well made the postseason with Nomar Garciaparra on it. But was it built for a playoff-type team where you need the defense? And that's certainly something you have now. You don't have Nomar Garciaparra, but a team that probably would play better in a playoff-type setup where you don't score a lot of runs and you rely on a great deal of defense.
Yeah, and that's not to say that Nomar Garciaparra is not a good shortstop, because he is a very good shortstop. But the fact is they've added depth and defense at different positions by making the trade. And I think that's so important when you get to the postseason.
The inside-out swing into left field for a base hit. Morneau scores, and the game's tied at 1. Corey Koski with a 2-out RBI to tie the game.
That's a big base hit by Koski. You know, Lowe turns a very nice double play to get a couple of quick outs. It looks like he may get out of the inning, but then Koski with that inside-out swing against Lowe. Koski now 4 for 11 in his career against Derek Lowe, and that quickly the game is tied up. Anyway, this thing will be hashed and rehashed over the next couple of days, and I don't know what side the public opinion is going to come down on. From a baseball point of view, I think the Red Sox, you know, have certainly improved their defense. They've added speed. I think they have more options offensively when they get this group together that can do some things. And, you know, look, only time's going to tell. I mean, we'd be foolish to sit here and say, oh, they're definitely a better team, or they're not as good. We don't know that. We won't know the answer to that till the end of the season.
I think the hard thing is he's just been such a big part of this Red Sox team for so long. And you look back at all the great Red Sox over the years, spending their entire career with the Red Sox. And I think a lot of people envisioned, including Nomar Garciaparra, that he'd be a member of the Red Sox his entire career.
Well, he was one of the most popular Red Sox players that you've ever seen. I mean, this guy never got booed at Fenway Park. Never, from day one. They all had. Yastrzemski had. Williams had. People loved Garciaparra. There's no question about that.
And doing some amazing things in the community, which he pointed to today as well. A community that he will certainly miss as he moves, as he put from one great tradition to another, now being a part of the Chicago Cubs.
We knew the end was coming, though. I don't think that was going to surprise anybody. It was just a matter of how it was going to end, how ugly it was going to be.
And did you get anything in return, which you may not have had it come to the end of the season? Jerry Blanco, the hitter.
I'll tell you how crazy things were down in the clubhouse today. After this was announced, I went in to try to get some information on our new players from the National League, and of course I was fortunate to talk to Schilling about both of them. Jason Varitek called me over. He says, "Am I going to the Dodgers?" I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, Roberts is coming here. That means they need a catcher. I'm gone." He says, "And I'm not happy." I said, "No. I said,
Swinging a miss and striking out as Blanco to end the inning. The Twins. Top half of the third inning, tied at 1. Bill Miller leading it off. Miller, Gutierrez, and Damon face Brad Radke in the top of the third inning.
Yeah, getting back to that Varitek thing, you know, he was. It was funny because, I mean, guys couldn't figure out what was coming and going. You know, they know everybody was coming, but they had no idea who was going. They knew Nomar was going, but they say, "Wait, how are we getting this many guys and only Nomar is going?"
Well, Miller to deep right center field, and a running catch by Lou Ford. Another outstanding outfield defensive play for the Twins tonight. First Jacque Jones, and now Lou Ford, who also bangs into the wall and also holds on to the baseball.
Well, we're accustomed to seeing Torrey Hunter make those type of plays out in center field for the Twins, but now it's Lou Ford going as hard as he can, making the catch and crashing into the wall and holding on to the baseball. You're right, Don. Jacque Jones and Lou Ford, two outstanding plays here early in the ball game for Radke.
6 in a row retired by Radke, but he's had a little bit of help from his friends tonight in behind him. Ricky Gutierrez standing in. The only blemish on Brad Radke tonight. A home run by Mark Bellhorn in the first inning, but outstanding defense from Jacque Jones and now Lou Ford. As Gutierrez quickly in the hole, 0-2.
Now, when these other players, Cabrera and Roberts, join the Red Sox, which I believe is going to be tomorrow. Of course, they'll have to make 2 roster moves to get them activated on this 25-man roster.
Roberts with the Dodgers on the West Coast. As Gutierrez punched to that and strikes out. First strikeout for Brad Radke, 2 down.
Well, each time the Red Sox win at Fenway Park, Hood donates $1,500 to the Hood Home Team Advantage charity program. The program benefits children's hospitals throughout New England. It's another reason you can feel good about Hood.
So 2 down in the inning, and here's Johnny Damon grounded out to second base his first time up. Second time through for the Red Sox against Brad Radke. Into right field and a base hit. Well placed by Johnny Damon in the second hit of the night for the Red Sox. So Damon at first, 2 down, and here comes Mark Bellhorn. Now, my understanding with Cabrera, at the end of the season, he becomes a free agent as well. So the Red Sox will be in the same sort of situation with him.
What's going to be interesting about Cabrera, remember now he's been in that situation in Montreal. He's going to be coming to a totally different atmosphere in Boston than in Montreal, and we'll see how he reacts to that, how he likes that, and that could be a big difference in, you know, whether he's going to want to re-sign with the Red Sox if the Red Sox elect to do that. That depends on obviously how he plays, how he adjusts.
The Red Sox would have Doug Mientkiewicz next year, so they control his rights for another season beyond this season. Told that Orlando Cabrera's played only 2 games at Fenway Park as part of interleague play.
30 years old, very durable, plays in just about every game. You look over the last couple of years, in 202, 153 games, 162 last year, and he's played at all 103 so far this year.
Popped up. The pitcher Radke, now the catcher Blanco makes the catch for the out. We're tied at 1. Don Orsillo and Jerry Remy back in Minnesota, where the Red Sox and Twins are tied 1-1 into the last half of the third inning. Luis Rivas, the second baseman for the Twins, leading it off. And fouling it off, Derek Lowe. First 2 base runners reaching for the Twins in the second inning on back-to-back base hits. He was able to induce a double play, but could not get out of the inning unscathed. A 2-out RBI single by Corey Koski tied the game at 1 after Mark Bellhorn had homered in the top of the first inning for the Red Sox. Eric Lowe coming in at 9-9, 5.56 earned run average, his 21st appearance of the year. Fouling it off himself. Twins beginning the day with a 4-game lead atop the American League Central. Last 10 games, 8-2. And a loss here last night against the Red Sox in the first game of the series. The Twins 57-45 on the season. To right field, Millar moving in on the shallow fly ball for out number 1.
Well, for every run of the Red Sox catch stealing this season on NESN, you have a chance to win a LoJack stolen vehicle recovery system. Log on to NESN.com, enter the date, opponent, and runner's name for your chance to win in the LoJack caught stealing sweepstakes.
One down for the top of the Twins order, Shannon Stewart. He grounded out to first base his first time up.
You know, Don, talking about sweepstakes, of course, the name that was thrown around, Randy Johnson, stayed home.
Sounded as if he had okayed the deal to the Dodgers. It was just that the Dodgers and Diamondbacks couldn't come to terms with a deal after he agreed to go there at the 11th hour.
Now, you know, of course, there are more deals that can come, and now you have to go through the waiver period. You know, the waiver thing to do a deal, which makes it a little bit more difficult because teams can block you. But it's certainly probably not the end of trades between now and the end of the season. But it was interesting that the biggest name out there, Randy Johnson, first it was guaranteed he was going to the Yankees. Then it was maybe Anaheim, maybe the Dodgers. He's still in Arizona.
And it ends up that everybody kind of waiting to see what the Dodgers are going to get after what appeared to be a very one-sided deal. They don't end up with Randy Johnson. As Lowe takes care of Shannon Stewart, and there's 2 down.
Now the Yankees involved in a deal that may help them some. Contreras leaving New York, and cash involved in that for Esteban Loaiza, who had an outstanding year last year, not quite as good this season, but I think that slightly helps New York. Contreras was so, you know, he pitched a couple of gems, but so inconsistent for him.
Guzman to second base. And the Twins are gone. We're tied at 1. Our question tonight, what 2 players do the Red Sox acquire from the Twins on July 31st, 1998? The answer for you in the next half inning. As we head to the top of the 4th inning, and David Ortiz leads it off. It'll be Ortiz, Ramirez, and Varitek to bat here in the 4th inning. The Red Sox and Twins are tied 1-1. Well, now you have David Ortiz, you have Millar, you've got some other guys. Where do you think this playing time is going to happen here with right field and first base? It appears that Trot Nixon is going to be gone perhaps longer than we first thought, and it's going to be interesting to see how these new guys fit in. We know Cabrera is going, but as far as Dave Roberts, who has played center and right, where do you think he will fit into the equation?
It's possible it could be a platoon situation out there in right field. Maybe Roberts getting starts against certain right-handers. Also could spell Johnny Damon in center field. Last time I saw Roberts, he was in center field with the Dodgers.
Coming back late is Blanco, and he won't have a play back into the seats.
Mientkiewicz, I don't think will be an everyday first baseman. I think Millar will get some time there, and you know, I think it's, you know, Frank Conner, I'm sure, hasn't even had time to think about what he might do right now. I think when he gets back to the hotel tonight and he starts looking at the players he's got, he's going to start to figure out a way how he's going to be able to get them all some playing time. And he's done a pretty good job of that all season long with the cast that he's had.
And Gabe Kapler has been playing well in his role, filling in at times. Another fine night for Gabe last night. And it certainly was the opinion of many that the Red Sox would go out and still try to obtain another outfielder, and that's exactly what they've done.
Well, in the Nomar Garcia-Parra lineup tonight, Kapler was in the game in right field. Millar was at first, and of course Nomar at short. When that lineup changed, Kapler was out, and Millar was moved into right field, and Mientkiewicz at first base.
Three-two to Ortiz, a swing and a miss, and the second strikeout for Brad Radke, one down.
Now Radke certainly knowing Ortiz very well, and once he gets ahead of him, goes upstairs, up and away from David to pick up his second strikeout of the ball game. Up above the belt, uppercut swing, can't get to it.
One away for Manny Ramirez, grounded out to third base his first time up. Well, for a long time around the trade deadline, it seemed like Brad Radke's name was a name that would come up more often than not. But he has stood the test of time here in Minnesota, stayed a Twin. He's been a member of the Minnesota Twins since 1995. And double figures in wins every season. Last year, a 14-game winner was 14-10. After the All-Star break last year, it was 9-1.
Well, the Red Sox are going to see a couple of tough customers in this couple of days. Radke tonight, of course, and Johan Santana, who's had a terrific season for the Minnesota Twins, and Santana going up against Pedro Martinez tomorrow. Should be a heck of a pitchers matchup.
2-1 to Manny Ramirez. Ortiz striking out to begin the inning. Brad Radke so far with 2 strikeouts tonight. He's only given up 2 hits through 3 1/3. And he grounds his foul beyond the Twins dugout.
It's funny too, we had heard reports that Matt Clement, who pitched today for the White Sox, the Cubs, had 10 strikeouts in that game. All kind of reports that he was involved in the deal, and apparently he didn't have to go anywhere either.
No.
And we had reports from, I think it was a Chicago writer that was here, saying that he was in tears leaving the clubhouse like he had been traded. That didn't happen.
It's unbelievable, the stuff that flies around. On the ground right side of the backhand goes more. No. Radke there to cover, and there's 2 down.
You know, you're battling to keep up with all the activity that's going on, and then weigh when you should go eat dinner, because he had very good fried chicken tonight down there.
Which I missed completely, unfortunately.
Well, I managed to slide down to get some. And, you know, priorities are priorities, and when they have fried chicken here, you've got to jump all over it. So
I was walking with Nomar at the time as he was leaving to get into a cab, and he was virtually calling all the people close to him. Certainly he called them first, but calling some other people that were calling him, and he was headed on a flight to Chicago, and basically had about a half an hour to get to the airport to join his new team. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, even though he knew that this was probably going to happen, still appeared to be very shocked.
Oh, I mean, this is the organization he grew up in. I mean, you know, this is where he was drafted. This is where he was signed. This is where he came through the minor leagues. This is where he had success at the major league level. Of course it's a shock. You're never prepared for something like that, even though you think it may happen.
And it's going to take some time to set in for sure. As he jettisons to Chicago tonight. The Red Sox strikes out. Red Sox in order, tied at 1. Getting ready for the last half of the 4th inning, tied at 1. And in case you're just joining us tonight, of course, the trade deadline coming and going, and the Red Sox today making the trade, sending Nomar Garcia-Parra to the Chicago Cubs. And today has been a whirlwind, Jerry, it really has. But an amazing day, and the Red Sox no longer with Nomar Garcia-Parra. What appears to be a very good defensive move for the Red Sox. And 3 new players, 1 already here, 2 on the way.
Well, Nomar tomorrow, I'm sure, will be putting on his Cub uniform for the first time at Wrigley Field, and you know, that'll be obviously a very exciting day for him. You know, tonight's going to be tough. There's no question about that. You've got all the things that have happened all day long. Very difficult to get traded mid-season for anybody. And then tomorrow, of course, he'll be in Chicago. Plenty of media attention. He'll get the standing ovation from the crowd at Wrigley Field. And, you know, you move on. But it's going to take a while to sink in.
I mean, little stuff like getting your stuff and getting to the next city. I mean, you got to think like Doug Mientkiewicz.
Well, and we also know how superstitious Nomar is.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And to find his new routine, you know, in Chicago, and it's kind of crazy. And the Red Sox are in the same boat. I mean, they're going to be receiving players, you know, that Francona is going to have to figure out how to get the most out of. And I think he'll have a sleepless night tonight, you know, because this came on him very quickly, too. And had to make out the new lineup tonight. And, you know, he'll go back after this game and say, okay, I got Roberts now. I got Cabrera. What's my lineup going to look like? Where am I going to hit these guys? When is he going to play?
This one shot high to third. Bill Miller's got to hurry up. The throw is not going to be in time. Tumbling his way into the bag at first is Lou Ford, who stumbled but managed to grab the bag and is on with an infield hit.
You know, as long as you play this game, sometimes you forget that first base bag is there, you know.
And it looked like Ford was going so hot he stepped right on top of it and slipped.
Ford is at first base to begin the inning. The fourth hit off Derek Lowe tonight. And here's Justin Morneau, who singled and scored in the second inning. This one softly grounded towards Bellhorn. He tried to apply the tag, now flips to second for the force out. Tried to tag him and then, of course, fire on to first, but in the end is able to force out for it for the first out of the inning.
A good play by getting the lead man, especially in a 1-to-1 ball game. And it looks like he had a little trouble getting the ball out of his glove. Right there, he's trying to shuffle the ball to Gutierrez and does just barely get it there in time.
So 1-on-1 Torrey Hunter coming up. Now, in your individual situation, you were traded during the offseason, so it was not mid-season, and you were coming home, which was something I'm sure was a little easier for you as well. So a chop to short. Gutierrez touches second, fires up and over and into the dugout. Over the ward, second base to Torrey Hunter. As Gutierrez airmails that one, he does get the first out at second base, 2 down.
I couldn't tell, but it looked like he got cleaned out by Morneau at second base. Gutierrez comes across and tags the bag. He gets that out, but it looks like Morneau clipped him as he was trying to turn this double play, and the ball just flies high. Oh, no, he tried to jump over him. And by trying to jump over him, he just uncorks a bad throw way over the head of Kevin Millar. Mientkiewicz. If it would have been over Millar, said that would have been quite a throw.
So 2 down, and Hunter ends up on the error at second base. Or charged obviously to Gutierrez. 2 down, runner in scoring position. Jacque Jones trying to bunt his way on, fouls it off.
Why is Jacque Jones trying to bunt with a man in scoring position and 2 outs? That's just not a good play.
Doesn't make much sense.
He may be trying to draw the infield in a little bit, you know, but Jacque Jones is a .357 career hitter coming into the game against Derek Lowe, and I'm sure Ron Gardenhire wants him to swing away with 2 outs and that man in scoring position.
And outside, 2-1 down to Jacque Jones. Tied 1-1 with 2 down here in the last half of the 4th inning. Torrey Hunter in scoring position at second base. And now Varitek out to talk to Derek Lowe.
Don, you know, you mentioned when I was traded, it was much easier. It was in the offseason, and yes, I was coming back home to the Boston Red Sox. I was coming to a winning team, and it was a much easier transition. But the truth is, it was still an organization that I had grown up with. You know, the Angels, they ready to release me my first spring. They stayed with me. I got to the big leagues, so it was hard to leave. You know, I left a lot of friends. I left the organization that gave me a chance. But because I was going to a better team and going home also, that was much easier. And it did happen in the offseason. You know, let's see, it's much easier to adjust.
Strike on the outside corner. Certainly it doesn't matter when it happens. It's very unsettling. 2-2 to Jacque Jones. Torrey Hunter at second base. Just missing a frame by Varitek for an extra second. Low thought he had strike 3, but it's a full count now.
Yeah, Lowe throws that fastball that he likes to tail back on the corner against left-handed hitters. Very close, but does not get the call.
First base open with 2 down. Jones strikes out, gets away briefly from Varitek, who's got to throw him out. He does, and the score remains tied at 1. Don Orsillo and Jerry Remy back in Minnesota, tied at 1. The Red Sox come to bat in the top half of the 5th inning. Doug Mientkiewicz, in his first at bat in a Red Sox uniform, grounded out to first base back in the 2nd inning. That he would ground out to the guy that virtually took his spot here in Minnesota, Justin Morneau, who now will take over on a very regular basis at first base for the Twins. It became very clear to Mientkiewicz some weeks ago that the Twins were going to go in this direction. Despite his 8 seasons here in Minnesota out of Florida State University.
Back-to-back changeups from Radke to Mientkiewicz.
Mientkiewicz, a Gold Glove winner in 2002. To right field, sinking fast. In comes Jacque Jones to make the running catch for out number 1. It's time now for the answer to our Aflac trivia question tonight. What 2 players did the Red Sox acquire from the Twins on July 31st of 1998? Greg Swindell, left-handed pitcher and first baseman. Orlando Merced. Swindell and Merced were acquired from the Twins for 3 minor leaguers: Matt Kenny, Joe Thomas, and John Barnes. Going on in the inning, Kevin Millar stands in. Swindell ended up pitching in 29 games for the Red Sox, going 2-3 with a 3.38 ERA. Left after the season as a free agent. And Merced, in a very brief time, was 0 for 9 with 2 walks and was released on August 31st. So Merced's stay was even shorter than Swindell's. The guys the Red Sox sent away: Matt Kenny now pitches for the Brewers. John Barnes last played in the majors here with the Twins in 2000 and 2001. And the other Red Sox farmhand, Joe Thomas, never made it to the major leagues. 5 in a row retired by Brad Radke. He was given up just 2 hits to the Red Sox so far tonight through 4 1/3 innings. A solo home run by Mark Bellhorn for the Red Sox only run tonight back in the 1st inning. And a single to right by Johnny Damon in the 3rd. Did he go? They'll check it first, and no, says Paul Emmel. Millar waiting on the 2-2. And it takes ball 3, a full count. Millar's hit safely in 8 straight games, hitting at .563 during that time, with 6 homers and 13 runs batted in. So far 0 for 1 tonight after grounding out to second base.
You know, Don, when you think you can help me with this, all the rumors that we have heard over the last couple of weeks, and think about the players that have changed teams.
Very few.
You did not hear many of those names at all.
No. In the end, the names that went were not the names that were originally projected or that you heard the most about.
Benson you heard a lot about, and he did get moved. We certainly didn't hear LaDuca and Mota's name mentioned, or at least I didn't. Any of the players that Nomar was, name was brought up many times that there's possibility he could move, but the players that we got, Cabrera, Mienkiewicz's name was mentioned, but a lot of these guys you'd never even heard in the rumors, so.
And so many that still remain with their teams. Derek Lowe, a perfect example.
Yeah, exactly. So take it for what it's worth. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that I think even the experts don't have a good grasp on. Certainly we don't.
Wide out of the reach of Luis Rivas and into center field. Dwyer with a base hit and now a 9-game hitting streak.
I mean, it's like we were with the team all the time. There's no way I could have predicted what was going to happen today. I mean, I could have said, yeah, there's a chance Nomar's going to be traded, but for whom and who you get, I had no clue.
No clue whatsoever, no. Well, now 1 on, and Bill Miller coming up, hit one to the track in center field. His first time up. Lou Ford able to make the catch. Well, I guess that's for a player to remember as well. All the things that are written, all the things that are said, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Sure, it's hard at times to do that and to block it out completely when all the things are talked about as to where you might end up, where you might go, and all the speculation that surrounds it. A lot of players will tell you that they don't read the papers. They have no idea, but I think you'll find 98% of the time they do, and do hear everything, if not firsthand, from someone else who's certainly glad to let them know. Rivas to second for 1, on to first, and it is a double play. We're still tied at 1. Don Orsillo and Jerry Remy back in Minnesota. Red Sox and Twins tied at 1. Our producer tonight is Russ Ken, director Mike Narachi, associate producers Greg Petranzio. We're glad you've joined us tonight for Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Red Sox and the Twins. Eric Lowe pitching to Corey Koski with a strike. So far, the Twins have compiled 4 hits off Lowe. Their run coming in the second inning. A 2-out RBI single by Corey Koski. He's down in the count, 1-2.
Another big crowd here tonight in Minnesota, larger, I believe, than last night's crowd. They're pretty well packed up, even in the upper deck tonight.
It's a good thing we are in a dome, because it rained last night outside during the game. It was raining here this afternoon coming over to the ballpark. And we're expecting some more showers here in the area overnight. Tomorrow's a day game, 2:10 Eastern Standard start here tomorrow for the Red Sox and the Twins. My understanding is the roof is tougher during the day. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. The lighter it is, the tougher it is to pick up the baseball.
Pedro Martinez set to pitch against Johan Santana. The right-hander is 9-6 Santana. Pedro looking for win number 12. He's 11-4.
Now, we have gone through a game and a half, and no one yet has lost the ball in the roof. Those little holes you see up here, a lot of times they're mistaken for the baseball. Much more of a problem, though, during the day than at night. Don, I remember the first year that this place was open. I was playing at the time, and there was no air conditioning in here, and it was absolutely brutal.
Now very nicely climately controlled as Koski works the walk. That's just the first walk of the night, given up by Derek Lowe. Red Sox baseball in Nesson is brought to you by Subaru, by Foxwoods Resort and Casino, and by Nissan. So Koski at first. The Twins have the leadoff runner on.
Let's see. Yeah, down at the bottom of the lineup now. Let's see if they try to play a little hit and run, do something to move a runner in this tie ball game.
Henry Blanco, the number 8 hitter, strikeout victim, his first time up.
Koski at first base has 8 steals. He's been caught twice. The Twins as a team are 3rd in the American League in steals. They trail Anaheim in that category, and also Tampa Bay.
At first for Koski, and Blanco hits one deep and far to left field. Back goes Ramirez at the wall, and Manny can't make the catch. It trickles away. Still running is Koski. He's going to try and score. The throw coming to third is not going to be in time, as Koski scores all the way from first base with a go-ahead run for the Twins. It puts Minnesota on top 2-1. Blanco ends up at second base.
like for a second Manny had covered the ground and made the catch. He goes back to the wall. Did he get a glove on it? It looks like he did, and then it bounced out as he hit the wall. And then by the time he chases it down, they just continue to wave Koski around. I couldn't tell, Don, with that yellow background, if he had the ball in his glove and it was knocked out when he hit the wall.
Tough to tell even on the replay. And they give a double to Blanco on an RBI. Now ground ball to the right side. And on to third goes Blanco with one away.
Let's take one more look at the Ramirez play in left field. I originally thought that he had the ball in the glove, and then when he hit the wall, it bounced out of the glove. Yeah, he's got it there, and then it just pops out.
Almost looked like in that look that he may have had it long enough.
Boy, that's a tough call. I mean, he did have that a long time. But then when he did hit the, when he did hit the wall, but there's no question it came bouncing out. And, I think that is the correct call because he never had really secure possession of that baseball.
A double for Blanco and an RBI is 22nd as the Twins on top. Now they're looking for more with a runner at third. And Blanco, as Shannon Stewart sprays one foul off the right side.
In the meantime, a very good play by Rivas to move that ball to the right side and get Blanco to third with less than 2 outs. The Red Sox pull the infield in. Now on the artificial surface, you don't have to pull it all the way in.
Fair ball down the line. Easily scoring Blanco from third. Heading to second base with an RBI double goes Shannon Stewart, and the Twins on top 3-1.
Right down the third base line. That ball down and in. Shannon Stewart hitting on top of it. A top spin ground ball that gets by the dive of Bill Miller, and that'll score Blanco. And that quickly, the Twins are up 3-1. So things have happened very fast here in the 5th inning for Minnesota.
Still just 1 out of the inning. Stewart in scoring position at second base. Here's Christian Guzman, who was grounded out twice tonight. After the first pitch, Mientkiewicz will take it alone. Again with a ground ball to the right side. On to third goes another Twins base runner. This time Stewart there with 2 down.
Started too with a walk by Derek Lowe, his first walk of the ball game.
Twice tonight the Twins have had the lead runner on. The first time was the second inning, and they ended up scoring him in Justin Morneau. And in the 5th, the leadoff walk by Corey Koski, and he has scored, as well as Henry Blanco. And the Twins have come up with a pair of runs so far here in the last half of the 5th inning. Ford taking ball 1 from Derek Lowe. Ford with an infield single his last time up to third base. A strikeout back in the first inning. And foul tip that time into the mid. Draft choice, a 12th round pick by the Red Sox in June of 1999. The Red Sox traded him for Hector Carrasco. As this one hits Shannon Stewart at third base. Wow, that got on him in a hurry, and he is hurt.
Left arm, left elbow for Shannon Stewart. He's in foul territory, so obviously he's not out, but he is certainly down.
He had nowhere to go.
That ball was hit so hard you had no time to react to that. Stewart leaning off in foul territory. The line drive tries to get out of the way, but it looks like it gets him right in the arm.
Drive off his bat, looks on as they check on his teammate. And Shannon Stewart trying to get feeling back in that arm. Hot shot right at him. Gardenhire out there, the trainer as well, as they continue to check on what appears to be that elbow area.
And he turned around and it looked like it got him on the back of that left arm or right on the elbow. That really has to hurt. Probably right now not much feeling at all, running from all the way through his elbow through his fingers.
So we'll see if he stays in the game here. Stewart is at third base with 2 down. 2 runs are in for the Twins. A nice hand from a very large crowd here tonight at the Metrodome. Twins have come up with a pair of runs here in the last half of the 5th inning and now lead 3-1, but all eyes on their left fielder Shannon Stewart, who will stay in the game after a scary incident right there. The line drive right off his arm. And he'll stay in the game at third base here with 2 down. Ford offering his apologies down the line as he climbs back into the box on the right side. Lowe's 2-2. And a full count now. Justin Morneau, the first baseman and cleanup hitter now for the Twins, waits on deck. To Lou Ford. Second walk of the inning and of the outing for Derek Lowe. The inning continues. Here comes Justin Morneau. 1 for 2 tonight, a single, and he scored a run in the second inning. Last time grounded out. He was 1 for 4 here last night with a double and a couple of strikeouts. Was recalled on July 16th from AAA Rochester. He was batting at .306 with the Red Wings. He had 22 home runs. Was a AAA All-Star. Played 72 games this season at AAA Rochester before being called up.
Run at first base. If he falls behind, Ford has 13 steals. He's been only caught 1 time.
They're staying away, and he finds himself down here 2-0. Justin Morneau, a 3rd-round pick by the Twins in 1999. Resides in Fort Myers, Florida during the offseason. And again away, and it's 3-0.
By the way he's been swinging the bat, he may have the green light on the 3-0 count.
Takes the strike. Thought he had ball 4s. Again, they work him away, but it's a strike.
One thing you don't like to see rookies do when that strike call is made, don't start walking toward first base. Umpires don't like that. Wait till they make the call, then go.
Ball 4, and it's back-to-back walks given up by Derek Lowe. He had not walked anyone through the first 4. He has walked 3 here in the last half of the 5th. And that'll bring Dave Wallace out to the mound. The Red Sox have not had any action in the bullpen yet tonight, and up until this inning, Derek Lowe had been pitching masterfully through the first 4. This inning, 3 walks and so far 2 hits. This Twins team has come up with a pair of runs on top now, 3-1. Shannon Stewart at third base, Lou Ford at second, Justin Morneau a single in the second. He grounded out in the fourth. In the air to center field. Johnny Damon's got a beat on it. Makes the catch. The Twins come up with 2 and lead it 3-1. Top half of the 6th inning back in Minnesota. Ricky Gutierrez leading it off for the Red Sox. A defensive change for the Twins after Shannon Stewart was struck on the line drive and leaves the game. Michael Cuddyer takes over and left defensively for the Twins. Ricky Gutierrez, a strikeout victim his first time up in the 3rd inning. Red Sox now dealing with a 2-run deficit, down 3-1 as Gutierrez lifts one to left field for a base hit. Just the 4th hit of the night for the Red Sox off Brad Radke.
They'll pick up a copy of this Sunday's Boston Globe and get a free David Ortiz action photo. Then every Sunday through August 29th, score a new Red Sox player photo only in the Boston Globe. Do you think that the Nomar trade might be a topic tomorrow in the Boston Globe?
I would think it would.
Many other papers.
Ricky Gutierrez at first base, leading off with a single. Johnny Damon 1 for 2. But after the first pitch, lifts it in the air to center. Move forward, waiting for it to come down, and he makes the catch for the first out of the inning. Well, Jerry, I imagine now with Nomar playing in his last game, July 28th, Wednesday in Baltimore, that scorecard becomes a instant classic.
You know, it's funny, Don. I called my partner after the trade was made to notify him, John O'Rourke. The RemReport.com's lighten up. That's how Red Sox fans are. They want that final game. And the final game, of course, was in Baltimore, not last night. Nomar went 1 for 3, so that scorecard is going to be huge to Red Sox fans.
How much is the scorecard, Jerry, to get a scorecard?
I'm not sure of the price, but it's under $20.
Because whatever it is, I'm going to sell mine for half. Whatever the price is for the RemDog scorecard, mine is now available for half.
It's amazing.
It's more colorful. I have the blue and the red.
Yeah. The problem is people can understand yours. That's the problem. They can't understand mine at all.
The charm of yours is that you can't understand any of it.
It's amazing. Within a half hour, though, after the trade, it was bing, 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 bing. And, you know, what's going on? They want the scorecard of his final game.
And for the record, he was 1 for 3 in his last game with a single in the 5th inning. The Orioles winning that game 4-1 in the last game against the Orioles.
You know, a lot was made, too. They said, well, did you hold him out of the lineup last night because of what was pending? And no, that was not the case at all. He was very uncomfortable playing in that final game in Baltimore, and Francona did not have him in the lineup last night. We were kind of surprised to see him in the lineup tonight because Terry said yesterday he might get a couple of days off in this series.
To right field off the bat of Bellhorn. Jacque Jones there to make the catch, and there's 2 down. Gutierrez went off the inning with a leadoff single, still standing at first base with now 2 outs.
Two biggest sellers since I've had that website were the Florida Marlins game a year ago, where the Red Sox set all those records in the 1st inning. And Roger Clemens failed attempt against the Red Sox for what, number 300?
Yeah.
I got a feeling this Nomar one, if tonight's any indication, is going to wipe both of them out.
Of course, now the mine's available too. That's going to cut into some of your sales.
Oh yeah, sure. If you can get if you can get a website going before the end of the night.
I'm going to try. David Ortiz is 0 for 2 tonight. He's lined out to second base and has struck out. The pitching line is brought to you by Nissan. 78 pitches deep is Brad Radke. 5 2/3 giving up the only run. It was a solo home run by Mark Bellhorn back in the 1st inning. At first base, held on by Justin Morneau. Radke has given up only 4 hits, the home run I mentioned, and 3 singles. Johnny Damon has a single, Kevin Millar with a single, and a leadoff single this inning by Ricky Gutierrez. 4 to Ortiz, and just the first walk of the night given up by Brad Radke.
Seems like he's stunned every time Radke gives up a walk. I mean, he just doesn't give up very many. Curt Schilling in that same category. Look at the leaders in the American leagues. Fewest walks per 9 innings. 0.7 for Brad Radke. Schilling is 1.4. He is third behind Radke and Lieber. Carlos Silva, also of Minnesota, 1.4.
Last year, Radke 120 strikeouts to 28 walks. Biggest differential, 137 Ks to 26 walks for him in 2001. Manny Ramirez standing in 0 for 2 tonight. The league leaders are brought to you by Volvo, the official vehicle of the Boston Red Sox. In the category home runs, David Ortiz, Paul Konerko, and Manny Ramirez tied atop the American League with 27. A-Rod right in behind. And Mark Teixeira for the Texas Rangers.
Now, Manny's about due to do something big. He's only 7 for his last 40.
Radke has been giving up a lot of home runs lately. 12 home runs over his last 6 outings, including 1 tonight. Ramirez jolts it foul off the right side, backing out of play. Against right-handed pitching this season, hitting at .321. Against lefties, always very high, .337. Gutierrez at second, Ortiz at first, 2 down. And a foul off the right side for Ramirez. Brad Radke with 3 strikeouts and 1 walk tonight. Radke up to 85 total pitches, 54 for strikes. Ramirez grounds it down the first baseline, a fair ball. Gutierrez being waved around. He will score. The throw to third, not in time. Ortiz is in. The Red Sox back within a run. An RBI single for Manny Ramirez, and it's 3-2 now, Twins.
You talk about a defensive swing for Ramirez. Radke with that great control continues to go away from Manny, and Manny just reaches out and punches it down that first base line. You don't see that very often. A ground ball for Ramirez between the first baseman and the first base bag. So a big 2-out base hit for Manny to get the Red Sox within 1.
The tying run 90 feet away, and David Ortiz was able to scamper his way to third base. So runners at the corners, 2 down, and here's Jason Varitek, 0 for 2 tonight. He is fly to the track in right and struck out swinging. Pops it up foul, back and out of play.
Just to give you an idea on Varitek on how he feels about playing for the Red Sox, when he called me in and asked about that deal with Roberts, I think he thought he was part of that, you know, because they got rid of LaDuca yesterday. He says, I'm ticked. He says, I don't want to go there. He says, I want to stay right here.
In the dirt. And of course, Jason Varitek, at the end of the year, would be a free agent unless something worked out between now and then. such an enormous part of this Red Sox team, and I think widely thought of as the leader of this team. There's no captain per se, but if you had to name one, you would think he would be at the top of that list. Inside, it's 2-1 now to Jason Varitek. Losing part of the Georgia Tech connection today with Nomar Garciaparra going to Chicago. David Ortiz at third, Manny Ramirez at first, 2 down. To right field, and Jacque Jones has it sized up. Red Sox get a run back, 3-2 Twins. Back in Minnesota with the Twins on top 3-2. The Red Sox back within a run. Jacque Jones to lead it off. 0 for 2 tonight. He's grounded into a double play and struck out swinging. And he takes a big hack at the first offering from Derek Lowe. Twins getting to Lowe for 2 runs in the last half of the 5th inning as they sent 8 men to the plate. This up the middle and just away from the outstretched glove of Derek Lowe. Leadoff hit for Jacque Jones. 3rd straight inning, the Twins have had the lead runner on.
Well, there's 2 former teammates not too long ago.
Take a look at what's on tap for the Red Sox, brought to you by Heineken. CBS 4 has the final game of the series tomorrow in Boston, Nesson outside of Boston. We have all 3 at 7 o'clock right here on Nesson from Tampa Bay. And Tropicana Field, where the Red Sox will take on the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, who will now be without Victor Zambrano, who's a part of the trade.
Yeah, Victor took his 96 walks and his how many 17 hits Batman took him to the Mets.
I have the feeling Lou got tired of watching that act. The short, and Gutierrez with only 1 play fires on to first to retire Corey Koski. Up to second base goes Jacque Jones with 1 away.
Well, actually, you know, Zambrano, as we know, Don, has got great stuff, and if he could ever harness that stuff, he'd be a very successful major league pitcher. He pitched one of probably the worst games we've ever seen this year down in Tampa against the Red Sox. It's strange some of the moves the Mets made, isn't it?
It is. They gave up a lot of prospects, too.
Yeah, and then what are they, 7 or 8 back?
They are, I believe, 7 back.
Get the schedule, I mean, the standings here somewhere. Where are the Mets Roonies?
The Mets are 7 back to begin the day.
7 back. 51 losses. 53, excuse me, 49 and 53. I mean, they're really not even close to a wild card.
They gave up some very good prospects.
Yeah.
And obtaining Benson from the Pirates and also getting Zambrano from Tampa Bay. Henry Blanco, the catcher, stands in. He doubled to drive in a run his last time up, and he chops this foul outside of third. That's a situation where you're 7 back, you're kind of going for it, but yet you're really not in the mix yet. You hope you are.
Just a few weeks ago, they were only a couple of games back, 2 or 3 games back.
Atlanta has somehow done it again. John Sherholtz and Bobby Cox combination. Doesn't matter who they've got on the field year in and year out. They get it done. They're bidding for another division clinching season. The Braves beginning the day 4.5 games ahead of Florida now and the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies were able to win today against the Cubs. The 0-2 to Henry Blanco. Derek Lowe up to 82 pitches in his outing, 54 for strikes. Blanco chops it outside of third and foul.
Well, if you did not see the game last night, they have the new field turf here at the Dome. Get rid of that old hard spongy turf that they had here, and they've added the field turf, and this of course much more comfortable for the players to play on, and I'm sure once football starts, those Vikings will certainly appreciate this new surface.
A couple of players told me today that it is softer than the turf that is in Tampa Bay, even though it's made out of the same stuff now, because it's newer.
Yeah, it's newer, and you know, Tampa Bay, now that they've been playing on that for quite a while now, and it's kind of flattened out a little bit. This is still a little bit soft.
The stuff in Tampa Bay, even though it is fake grass, is very, very flat now and very, very similar to regular AstroTurf. Swing and a miss. Blanco fooled on that pitch and strikes out. 4th strikeout for Derek Lowe. 2 down.
Curveball from Derek Lowe to get Blanco. He's got him twice on strikeouts, but Blanco had a big double back in the 5th inning to drive in a run. Good curveball that time from Lowe. Hey, you're right, Don. This must have been a kind of a crazy day, crazy couple of days for Derek Lowe. Trying to plan to make this start tonight, not knowing if you're going to make it or not.
And his late arrival here before the game, well, I don't want to say he's late because he wasn't late for a start, but coming in later than we're used to seeing Derek. Derek, even on days that he starts, generally will get in very early. And while the press conference is going on outside, really, the Red Sox clubhouse, and the announcement of Omar Garcia Parra, it's kind of when Derek arrived here tonight. After, I'm sure, hearing from his agent that he was not going to be traded away and would indeed make a start here tonight for the Red Sox. Derek making his 21st start of the season, a record of 9-9. Rivas taking ball 2, 2-1 to the Twins' second baseman, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Jacque Jones at second. Pitch missing down and away. And Rivas, the number 9 hitter, ahead in the count, 3-1. Michael Cuddyer waiting on deck. Has not batted yet tonight. Took over defensively for Shannon Stewart last inning. Rivas lifts it to short left. A late break for Manny coming on now. He'll run it down to make the catch for the final out. The Twins strand Jones at second. 3-2 Minnesota. Back at the Metrodome in Minnesota. This game summary is brought to you by your local Lincoln Mercury dealers. Mark Bellhorn started the scoring with a solo home run to center field, his 13th of the year. Henry Blanco. The Twins with a double to left field that would score Corey Koski, which put the Twins on top at the time 2-1. The Red Sox trailing 3-1 when Manny Ramirez drives one down the first base line into right. They score Ricky Gutierrez with the Red Sox second run, and that's where we are, with the Twins on top 3-2 as we head to the top half of the 7th inning. And Doug Mientkiewicz leads it off for the Red Sox.
By the way, Don, my congratulations to you and Russ today for getting, you know, with all that activity going on down there, going above and beyond the Call of Duty to get those sound bites and comments from Nomar and everyone else involved. Terry Francona.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. Our coverage today from Minnesota.
I was very busy eating my fried chicken while you were.
Well, we had it all under control. Thanks anyway, though.
I made sure everything was going smoothly.
Mientkiewicz in the center field, and he's got his first base hit in a Red Sox uniform. The leadoff single to begin things in the 7th inning.
Well, that has to feel pretty good, I'm sure. As I mentioned last night, Mientkiewicz had 3 hits for the Twins. Now he has 1 against his former ball club. More importantly, in a 3-2 ball game, get that leadoff man on here in the 7th inning.
Action in the Twins bullpen. Rincon and Romero up. Right-hander and a left-hander for the Twins. Brad Radke up to 93 total pitches. As Kevin Millar takes ball 1. Millar with a single his last time up to extend his hitting streak now to 9 games. Away again. Millar ahead 2-0. The Red Sox with a home run tonight. They now have 46 home runs in the month of July. The Red Sox matching the Texas Rangers with the most home runs among all major league clubs in the month of July. Cuddyer and Ford. And Ford and Cuddyer almost colliding. It's Cuddyer to make the catch. Not a lot of communication between the two out there, and the left fielder ends up making the catch. Obviously the center fielder with the decision out there, but it was Cuddyer stepped in front of Ford to make the catch.
Yeah, center fielder always has priority over his left fielder or right fielder or infielders going out. And if he's calling for it, it should be his ball. And Cuddyer just steps in front and takes it right out of the glove of Lou Ford.
So 1 out. Mientkiewicz still at first, and here's Bill Miller, who's 0 for 2. The ball hard his first time up in the 3rd inning. Flying to the track in deep center field, and a nice running catch by Lou Ford, who banged into the wall. He was able to hold on to the baseball. From a personal standpoint, Nomar Garciaparra leaving here today will be will certainly miss Nomar as someone who we see every day, but someone as Millar takes a strike, someone that I had the chance to watch really from his minor league career. Jerry, all his games in Pawtucket in 1996 on his way up.
Don, I remember the day they drafted him and signed him, and we were in Anaheim, as a matter of fact, and we did the first interview with Nomar on TV. He was just a kid coming out of college, and a lot of those number 5 Garciaparra shirts in Red Sox Nation.
It's going to take a while for Red Sox fans to get used to the fact that Nomar Garciaparra is no longer at short.
Well, he was always a very popular player, and popular because of the way he played the game. You know, you can't fool people in Boston with phony hustle, and you know he did not have that. He hustled all the time, and I think that's part of the reason the fans respected him on top of the talent. Now things got a little bit how do you say it? The love affair was not quite the same this past year, and I think because of a lot of things that happened during last offseason, some of the things that were said, the incident of, you know, when coming back to the lineup, not coming back to the lineup. I mean, you know, a lot of stuff floating around, and the fact that he was going to be a free agent. People had made their minds up that he didn't want to stay here, he was going to go. But, you know, he's going to be looked back on as, you know, one of the all-time great Red Sox. There's no question about it. And in my opinion, one of the most popular to ever put on a Red Sox uniform.
There goes Mientkiewicz at first. Miller swinging away and grounding it foul outside of first base.
Mientkiewicz is not blessed with great speed. 2 steals on the season. He's also been caught 2 times. There's no question the strength of his game is defense.
Twins infield, a double play depth. There goes Mientkiewicz. Miller swinging away, popped up back at third base. Out goes Christian Guzman to deep left. Here comes Cuddyer, and this time he gives way to the infielder Guzman, ducking back to left field to grab it for the inning's 2nd out.
You know who I kind of felt bad for today was Peter, who was
Peter Chase.
Peter Chase is doing the PR work on this road trip. Glenn Geffner's back home with the Red Sox. As a matter of fact, he was at that press conference, and you know, Chase knew something's going on, and you know, he's got, like, I mean, how many writers were down there asking him questions, and you know, what's going on, and when we got an announcement, you know, he kept a pretty stoic face, didn't he?
He had a very nice poker face going, and all the poker that is now on TV. I think Peter Chase has got a career ahead of him. This is in the right field, a base hit. Gutierrez will single to right. As Mientkiewicz moves up to second base, Red Sox have 2 on. Here's Peter Chase.
Yeah, he'll sleep good tonight, sitting near Dan Roach. This is Peter Chase here, who happened to be the guy on this trip at the trading deadline. See, now he has time to eat.
Now enjoying his meal.
What's he having, a Rem Dog? What is that?
Ron Geisenheier has made the pitching change. Back with the new Twins pitcher. Brad Radke done after 6 2/3 innings, responsible for the men on as he turns things over to left-hander J.C. Romero.
45th appearance for Romero, a record of 5-1. He actually spent some time in June in the minor leagues down at Rochester. 42 strikeouts in 43 innings for Romero.
Johnny Damon 1 for 3 tonight. Chops one foul. He's batting with 2 outs and 2 on for the Red Sox. Boston trailing by a run as they bat here in the 7th inning. Doug Mientkiewicz at second base. And Gutierrez at first. You see the numbers for Brad Radke. His book is not yet closed. This one bounces away from Blanco towards the Twins dugout, and the runners move up. It's over by the dugout, but of course from the rubber, only 1 base. And to third goes Mientkiewicz. Gutierrez to second with 2 down.
Yeah, now a base hit should give the Red Sox the lead. Romero tries to break off that breaking ball. It's not even close to home plate. Blanco can't block it. Bounces toward the dugout, and Red Sox have 2 men in scoring position.
Johnny Damon. Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. J.C. Romero from Puerto Rico. Parts of the last 5 seasons with the Minnesota Twins in the majors. Each of the last 2. Prior to this season, spent exclusively in the majors with the Twins. But this year, as you mentioned, time at AAA. 1-2, sliced down the left field line, foul towards the Twins bullpen. Johnny's surveying the bat to make sure it is still in one piece. 3 hits in 13 tries for Johnny Damon against J.C. Romero. Made 81 appearances the year before last out of the Twins bullpen. It was 9-2. Is 1-2. On the ground up the middle and into center field. Mientkiewicz will score to tie the game. Here comes Gutierrez to put the Red Sox on top. Up to second goes Johnny Damon. He's driven in 2, and the Red Sox lead it 4-3.
Well, you know, it hasn't mattered to Johnny Damon this year, right-hander or left-hander. He's .296 against left-handed pitching. He quickly falls behind in the count. Damon does not strike out very much, makes contact, and shoots it up the middle to give the Red Sox a lead. So a big wild pitch to get 2 men in the scoring position, and then a big hit by Damon to give the Red Sox the lead. Good charge put on by Lou Ford, but no chance to get Gutierrez at home plate.
So a single for Johnny Damon. He gets second on the throw. And the book now closed on Brad Radke. 6 2/3 innings. He's charged with 7 hits and 4 runs. Walks 1 and strikes out 3, and he's now on the hook with the Red Sox on top 4-3. Bellhorn with a half-hearted swing. Mark with a home run back in the first inning, his 13th home run of the season. Is 1 for 3 tonight. Swing and a miss, and Bellhorn down quickly, 0-2. It's a 10. It's 40,283. For the middle game of this 3-game series. Well, now the newfound lead. The Red Sox on top 4-3. Well, the Bellhorn, and it's 1-2. Cone continues to warm up in the Twins bullpen. And a check first, and Bellhorn did not. Offers is Paul Emmel. So 2 down, 2 runs in. Damon at second base. And a count of 2-2 to Mark Bellhorn. Count of Blanco. He's able to run it down to advance for Damon. And the crowd getting a little upset here with J.C. Romero, who's not had a great deal of success since coming in.
Yeah, gee, you know, that's something you really don't hear a lot in Minnesota, booing. And last night, Kyle Loesch was getting it a little bit from the Minnesota fans. And now J.C. Romero with some pitches not close to the strike zone.
Strike 3 call to end the inning. The Red Sox get 2 and lead it 4-3. Now Johnny Damon with a 2-out single to drive in a pair that has the Red Sox on top now 4-3 as we head to the last half of the 7th inning. Back and forth affair so far tonight has the Red Sox on top by a run. Michael Cuddyer batting for the first time tonight. Cuddyer taking over defensively for the injured Shannon Stewart, who was hit on a line drive standing in foul ground at third base 2 innings ago and had to leave the game with a sore, bruised elbow. As the Red Sox have action in their bullpen, Alan Embry is up as Derek Lowe starts this inning. Now 92 pitches tonight for Derek Lowe. Just missing there and framed by Jason Varitek. Wanted that one.
A little different strike zone tonight from Joe Weston last night with DeMuro. DeMuro last night was very generous for the pitches.
Set up outside, got too much of the plate. This one driven deep and far and out of the yard. Varitek was set up outside. That ended up right down Broadway, and Cuddyer puts it into the bleachers in left to tie the score at 4.
Sox lead didn't last very long. Michael Cuddyer hits number 8 on the season. See Varitek away, ball stays in, and Derek Lowe knew it right away. Mislocation, and Cuddyer makes him pay.
Christian Guzman now showing bunt, pulling back to take the strike. Bill Miller charging from third base. Derek Lowe is down to double figures in terms of home runs allowed, and it's now 10 in the season. This one chopped and handled by Lowe, flips it backhanded to first, and Mientkiewicz makes the play. Guzman retired 1-3. Red Sox now have double-barreled action. Embry had been up. He's now been joined by Mike Timlin. Minnesota, and here's Lou Ford. They struck out in the first inning, reached on an infield hit in the fourth, walked in the fifth. Michael Cuddyer coming in as a defensive replacement after Shannon Stewart had to leave, and ends up helping with his offense. A solo home run here to tie the game at 4. To Gutierrez and to Mientkiewicz, and there's 2 down.
Now you think of Lowe on this turf giving him a problem, but it hasn't been ground balls that have been the problem tonight. The ball that Blanco hit off the wall out of the glove of Manny, and of course the home run by Cuddyer.
The Red Sox were coming up with a couple of their own runs. A 20-minute wait for Derek Lowe in the top half of this inning. 2 ground ball outs after the home run, and here's Justin Morneau, who was swinging for the fences with that one. A single for Morneau in the second inning, grounded out in the fourth and walked in the fifth. This one softly chopped towards Bellhorn. Leadoff home run has tied the score at 4. A home run by Michael Cuddyer off Derek Lowe has tied the score 4-4 as we head to the top half of the 8th inning. The former Minnesota Twin David Ortiz to lead it off. Again, as J.C. Romero was able to get the final out of the inning, last inning for the Twins, after he surrendered a two-run single to Johnny Damon, allowing a couple of inherited runners to score. Vogelbach grounded to first. Morneau gobbles it up and takes it alone for out number 1. Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by your New England Jeep dealers, by Miller Beer, and by Volvo, the official vehicle of the Boston Red Sox. Ron Gardenhire taking the baseball from J.C. Romero in there to face just the first hitter in the top of the 8th. Pitching change from Minnesota. Back in Minnesota, the Red Sox and Twins tied 4-4. And the New England Ford dealers fan of the game, this gentleman here with the Nomar Garciaparra shirt on the day that Nomar Garciaparra traded away to the Chicago Cubs. Our Ford fan of the game.
I bet you a lot of Nomar fans are shocked tonight.
New pitcher on for the Twins is Juan Rincon, the third of the night for Minnesota. Facing Manny Ramirez with 1 out here in the top of the 8th.
Rincon, another guy out of the bullpen that's got very impressive numbers. He's got 34 hits allowed in 52 and a third, and 61 strikeouts. Opponents only hitting 186.
Last year began the year at AAA Rochester. Got 58 games with the Twins. This one line to right. Jacque Jones had him played over towards the line and worked out from a defensive standpoint for the Twins. 2 down.
I don't think I've ever seen a right fielder play that close to the right field line with Manny Ramirez up. But, you know, they've been giving him a steady diet of pitches away. And Manny, you could see just shooting the ball that way. And Jacque Jones with a big smile because he was right there to make the play. Watch how close when he gets moving, how close he is to that line. And that's something you very seldom see. But certainly a plan there. Pitch him away, play him away.
2 down for Varitek, who's 0 for 3 tonight. He's flied out twice to right. Wrapped around a strikeout in the 4th. Strikes even the count at 1-1. The player profile is brought to you by Sovereign Bank, the official bank of the Red Sox cable network. And of course, arguably the best trade made by Dan Duquette, hiring Derek Lowe along with Jason Varitek for Heathcliff Slocum. And the battery working here tonight. Derek Lowe going the first 7 so far for the Red Sox. Looking for his 10th win of the season, coming in at 9-9. 1-2 to Varitek. Just missing. And framed by Henry Blanco for Joe West. Wasn't biting, and it's 2-2.
And Rincon's throwing hard, too. Those last 2 fastballs, 95 miles an hour. Going away with the fastball, and apparently just a little bit low. Certainly had enough in the outside corner.
Getting another life and fouling this one off the left side.
Don, what are the odds of Nomar swinging at the first pitch tomorrow against whoever he's playing with the Cubs?
I would say very, very big.
I'd say very good, too. He'll be ready out there on Waverly Street or wherever the heck street that is.
Varitek strikes out. Red Sox down in order, tied at 4. Back in Minneapolis, Carl Eller, Hall of Fame defensive end. Minnesota Vikings enjoying the ball game tonight.
He was part of that front line that would play over that old stadium. Outside, cold, nasty conditions. Alan Page. The Purple People Eaters.
Actually going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame next week.
Russ telling me Jim Marshall also on that line.
Terry Hunt Spencer leading it off. First pitch from Derek Lowe, headed out towards center, but Johnny Damon will run it down for the first out of the inning. After wasting no time out after that first pitch from Lowe. The 101st pitch thrown tonight by Derek Lowe, and it will be his last as Terry Francona makes his way to the mound. So with one out here in the last half of the 8th inning, Derek Lowe giving up 4 runs tonight. The last one to tie the game at 4 was step aside. Has come back with more from Minneapolis. We're in the midst of the last half of the 8th inning in Minnesota, tied at 4 with 1 down. Derek Lowe chased from the game after 7 1/3 innings. Alan Embry into the game.
Second appearance of this series for Embry. He worked last night 2/3 of an inning, had a strikeout against the Twins. Overall, number 49 on the season. Jones and Koski do up a couple of left-handers. Embry called into the game.
100 pitches tonight for Derek Lowe, 68 of them for strikes. 7 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs. He walked 3, struck out 4. Well, the walks coming in the same inning as he walked 3 in the 5th. Had a little bit of a wildness in that inning. It was the inning in which the Twins scored 2 runs. And he allowed a home run tonight to Michael Cuddyer. That tied the score at 4. They're hitting the home run in the last half of the 7th inning. Jacque Jones unable to hold up.
Now the one walk really hurt him in the 5th. The leadoff walk. They scored 2 runs after that. The next 2 walks in that inning, he got a fly ball out to get out of that problem.
Operating at 92 miles per hour here against Jacque Jones. Like Timlin, who had been up alongside Embry, just looking on from atop the hill in the bullpen area, no longer throwing.
He probably would not be called upon now until you get to Blanco.
Falling behind Jacque Jones, 3-1. Jones hits one out towards deep left center field. Damon on the run. It is gone. Jacque Jones has left the yard to put the Twins on top 5-4. Their 17th home run of the year. Minnesota back on top 5-4.
Left-handed pitcher, when you fall behind 3-1 against a left-handed hitter, you lose your advantage. Jacque Jones knows that Embry has to come with the fastball 3-1, and he connects. He knows he got enough to the opposite field for the go-ahead home run. So Cuddyer with a home run to tie it. Jacque Jones with a home run for the lead.
So a 1-out solo home run for Jacque Jones. The Twins able to tie the score with a solo home run by Cuddyer last inning. And you pull ahead on a solo home run by Jacque Jones this inning. Rory Koski with a single and a walk tonight. He's grounded out as a run batted in. Twins closer Joe Nathan has 28 saves on the season. Twins with a 1-run lead here in the 8th. The Red Sox in the 9th, expecting Mientkiewicz, Millar, and Miller. The expected trio for the Red Sox, and at the very least, he'll be dealing with a 3-run deficit as you see Joe Nathan, who has just recently got up with his recent lead here for the Twins. Sox with leads of 1-0 and 4-3 tonight. Now trailing 5-4.
Jacque Jones had himself in a perfect hitting situation against a lefty, falling behind 3-1. You know the fastball's coming on the 3-1 count.
The 6th home run of the year given up by Alan Embry, as this time he gets Koski for a strikeout for Embry, and there's 2 down in the inning.
And we'll see now if Francona, yes, he is coming out to make the pitching change with Blanco due up.
So Embry giving up a home run to Jacque Jones. The Twins on top now 5-4, and another pitching change coming from Minneapolis.
Back in Minnesota, 5-4. The Twins have the lead. The home run off Alan Embry by Jacque Jones on a 3-1 count. A fastball, and Jones takes it to the opposite field for the go-ahead run here for the Twins in the bottom of the 8th. Embry, that was the 6th home run allowed. But Jacque Jones, his 17th home run on the season.
Mike Timlin, the new Red Sox pitcher, and the 3rd pitcher of the night.
Mike Timlin worked Wednesday in Baltimore. An inning in that game, did have a strikeout. This is his 49th appearance overall, a 4-3 record on the season.
Two down here in the last half of the 8th inning. Henry Blanco making his way to the plate, a double back in the 5th inning to drive in a run. 1 for 3 tonight. He has struck out twice. And fouls the first pitch from Mike Timlin off. Alan Embry lasting a 3rd of an inning, giving up the 1 hit, the home run by Jacque Jones. No walks and a strikeout for Embry, giving up the go-ahead run to the Twins here in the last of the 8th. Last year, Alan Embry gave up 5 home runs in 55 innings with the Red Sox. He's now been touched for 6 this season. Still 1-2 to Blanco, fouls it off. Part of Veritek, part of Joe West. Again, looking ahead to the top of the 9th, Doug Mientkiewicz, Kevin Millar, and Bill Miller expected for the Red Sox. They'll be facing Joe Nathan, the closer for the Twins, who continues to warm in the Minnesota bullpen.
Looking up at that scoreboard in Chicago, losing today 3-2 to Detroit, so that's certainly a factor for the Twins if they win this ball game, pick up another game on the White Sox. The Red Sox have already seen the Yankees win 6-4. Anaheim beat Seattle 9-8. Texas right now has a 4-3 lead over Oakland. Big night last night for Eric Burns, a couple of home runs for Oakland.
As you mentioned earlier, the White Sox acquiring Jose Contreras from the Yankees, and cash considerations for Esteban Loaiza. Swing and a miss. Timlin strikes out Blanco, but the Twins move ahead 5-4. Back in Minnesota, ready for the top of the 9th. The Red Sox dealing with a 1-run deficit as they come to bat. They do so against one of the best closers this season in Joe Nathan.
28 for 29 and save opportunities for Nathan. He's 3rd in the league. Rivera with 36, Cordero of Texas 31, then Nathan with 28. It's amazing. Last year they had Eddie Guardado. This year Joe Nathan steps right in and is doing a great job for the Twins.
Guardado doing his business in Seattle now, as Doug Mientkiewicz leads it off. Newest member of the Red Sox, singling his last time up. 1 for 3 tonight. 0 runs allowed in the last 21 innings pitched for Joe Nathan. A strike over the outside corner, 95 miles per hour from Nathan. Stands at 6'4", 205 pounds, born in Houston, Texas, resides in Chandler, Arizona. It's obtained in a trade with the San Francisco Giants. Mientkiewicz down 1-2, fighting off that 94-mile-per-hour fastball. Nathan in the majors first with the Giants in 2002 and in 2003. 78 relief appearances for the Giants last season. Was not made into a closer until he came here to Minnesota. Into center field and falling fast. The Red Sox have the lead runner on in the ninth. Doug Mientkiewicz with his second hit of the night. The newest member of the Red Sox.
And looks like Gabe Kapler is going to come out to run for Mientkiewicz. So his Red Sox debut, 2 for 4. He'll get a nice little ovation and a very little ovation now that the game's on the line.
A little bit different now. So Kapler running for Doug Mientkiewicz. And here comes Kevin Millar. Millar with a single in the 5th inning, 1 for 3 tonight. Swing and a miss, challenged him there, went up top, 96 miles per hour.
Be a risky move, but you can get a very good jump off Nathan Kapler with good speed. Nathan takes a long time to get the ball home. Picks up a little bit though with that velocity, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. They take him a while to get going, but once it leaves his hand. There goes Kapler. They are going to try it. The throw down is a very good one, and Kapler is very out. Risky, and in this case, not a good move for the Red Sox.
Now that was almost like a pitch out. I mean, it was a fastball at 96. You'll see Blanco take one step was right, a wide open space to throw, and it wasn't even close at second base. Almost like a pitch out.
Kapler barely reached the dirt when he was trying to head first line into second base. Something the Red Sox very seldom do. They try here in the ninth. The base run is removed.
To center field, and there's 2 down in the ninth. Nobody on now. Goals to bring 40,283 to their feet is 1 in Minnesota. Twins on top by a run, and it's up to Bill Miller with 2 down. That's Nathan taking something off, dropped down to 90. And he missed 4 ball 1. Bill Miller tonight 0 for 3. He's flying to the track in center, grounded into a double play, and popped out to short. Down the line in right field, headed towards the corner, and a foul ball.
We can see Miller trying to get out in front of that fastball. It's been 95 and 96. He's out in front of it okay, but he hooks it foul. It looked like it went off that milk bottle on there. Huge milk bottle. No, not quite off the bottle. There's a lot of milk out there, Don.
That's a lot of milk. I don't remember that milk being here, actually, last time we were here.
No, it's first year for the milk.
2 down in the top of the 9th inning. Count of 1-1 to Bill Miller. Red Sox down by a run. Miller lines it into right field. The Red Sox still alive. This game's summary is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. And the Red Sox tonight in the hit department led by the number 1 hitter and the number 9 hitter. 2 hits for Ricky Gutierrez and 2 hits for Johnny Damon. The home run tonight for Mark Bellhorn, a solo home run back in the 1st inning. Tough night tonight for Jason Varitek. So far 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Single from Millar, 1 for 3 to extend his hitting streak to 9 games.
Now, by the way, Don, Blanco has thrown out over 40% of the runners going against him this year.
Here's Youkilis batting for Ricky Gutierrez, who had 2 hits.
Mientkiewicz batting with Miller at first base and 2 down in the ninth. 4 homers in his first major league season. Big swing and a miss, all geared up for that fastball. 0-2, and the Red Sox down to their last strike. This one gets away from Blanco. Up to second goes Bill Miller. The tying run up into scoring position for the Red Sox with 2 down in the ninth.
Well, Red Sox have certainly had their chances. The leadoff base hit, but the caught stealing. Now a base hit by Bill Miller and a wild pitch to get that potential tying run in the scoring position. Tried to break off that slider. Goes by Blanco. And the Red Sox have an opportunity with a man at second base.
Mientkiewicz pinch hitting with a count of 1-2. On away, 2-2 now to Mientkiewicz. Johnny Damon waiting on deck, hoping he'll get a chance here with 2 down in the ninth. But it'll take something from Kevin Mientkiewicz. The 2-2 pitch. Mientkiewicz strikes out. The Twins win. 98 miles an hour from Joe Nathan to go up top, and Mientkiewicz strikes